In this video blog, I'm going to tell you guys about some of my favorite upgrades I've made to my TAG Teardrop Phoenix. I live full-time in Phoenix, which means I have to do everything I can to make this small space feel like home. And these upgrades go beyond being practical. These upgrades are the things that make my home my home. I've always heard the saying that it takes hands to build a house, but it takes hearts to build a home. But it is not until I started to upgrade Phoenix that I found this to be more true. I don't have a lot of tools. I don't have power tools. I certainly don't have a wood shop to work in. So when I want to make some of these upgrades, I have to look to my friends and family and those who love me. Not only are these upgrades practical and useful, but every time I look at them, I'm reminded of the person who helped me build it and the experience I shared during that time. I know you're supposed to save the best for last, but if you guys promise to watch to the end of this video anyway, then I will give you my very favorite upgrade first. Deal? Deal. As you know, I've had a TAG for 2 years, and for the first year, I would lay in bed in birdsong and I'd wonder what was behind this TV. Curiosity finally got the best of me. Lo and behold, behind the TV, there was tons of space. And when I say tons, I mean there was like a few inches. But when you live in a teardrop, a few inches is tons. So when I was traveling through Ohio and I was helping one of my best friends, John, shoot a couple of weddings, and we had a couple extra days, he agreed to help me turn my dream into a reality. This is one of my favorite modifications that I got to make. When you take the 4 screws out, you'll see that you can easily wrap the wires together, finish out the cabinet, and you can use the same board by adding hinges and magnets to keep the door shut as a cabinet door. But here's the best news. A little birdie told me that the 2018 tags, they're gonna come with the special Mandy cabinet. After John and I finished my awesome cabinet, he helped me cut wood to put in these cool shelves. All we did was cut some flat pieces of wood and use shelving brackets to secure them. I went to the hardware store and I found some pre-designed trim. All I had to do was stain it, and voila, a beautifully decorated shelf. And finally, if any of you tag owners ever use the storage under your bed, you will know what a pain in the bum it is to get those lids to open and close and slide back in the grooves. So when I was at the hardware store, I also picked up 3 big hinges and I hinged the 2 tops together so that when you open them, they don't slide out of place. So cheers, John. Thank you for your help. If you explore all of the nooks and crannies in your tag, you will find that there are some holes pre-cut. For instance, under the air conditioner, there is a hole that's been cut in order to put a fan in to cool the air conditioner. I got my brother-in-law Ryan to help me this time. Ryan helped me reposition that fan. Don't get rid of it, you need it, but so that we could build a cabinet in there. And again, using the same front, we added hinges and made it into my favorite secret compartment. Thank you, Ryan, for your help. When I was at a teardrop festival last year, I met a new teardropper named Steve. I was walking by his camper and I saw these really cool sycamore handles. And I walked up to him and said, I have to have those. And he simply said, come to Columbus and I'll build it for you. And I said, okay. I don't think he thought I really would, but I did. So Steve helped me with my kitchen upgrade. From the factory, the kitchen simply doesn't have enough shelving. So Steve had this really great old barn wood that he helped me build into some kitchen shelves. I also like to cook a lot, which can be kind of messy, so I wanted to protect the wood behind my stove. Pro tip, door kick plate. They're already pre-cut to the perfect size, and they have holes drilled in them for you already. Next, Steve did something super simple for me, but made a world of difference. A 2x4 stick that's cut to the perfect length so that when you lift open that bed, you don't have to hold it open above your head. You can simply prop the stick up and it keeps the bed open for you. And last, Steve helped me with one of my favorite upgrades. Not because it's useful, but because it makes this feel like home to me. My sycamore branches. Not only did he install them for me, but he went to the park and he handpicked these branches. And now, every time I look at these handles, I remember what good people are on the road and what good friends you can find just around the corner. Here's to you, Steve. Okay, let's move to the outside. The very first time I took my first teardrop birdsong camping ever, I went to a gathering with the Southwest Teardrops and Vintage Trailers group. They were complete strangers and I had no idea what to expect, but I found the most kind-hearted people down there. One thing that bothered me was that my license plate hung so low that it really cut into the clearance of my teardrop. Being a complete stranger, my new friend John helped me move my license plate up onto the door. He went over to the hardware store and he got some rubber washers so that it wouldn't rust or leak water, and he drilled new holes and he put my license plate up for me, and that was one of the most kind-hearted things any stranger had ever done for me. Here's to you, John. But I wouldn't be the girl I am today without the help of my dad, and of course my dad has helped me with tons of things on my camper. One of the things that always bothered me was that I didn't have a good place to put cords and hoses and tarps, so my dad took me to the hardware store, which is now becoming my second home, and we bought this great toolbox that fit just right to mount to the front of my frame. Don't tell him I said so, but every now and then my dad has a pretty good idea. When I was complaining about not having a place to put the handle for my stabilizer jack, he goes in the garage and he pulls out this piece of PVC pipe. He attaches it to the inside of my LP tank, and it made the absolute perfect holder for this handle. Here's to you, Dad. As you all know, I like to adventure, and one of the reasons that I bought a teardrop is because I didn't want a camper to hinder me from going anywhere I wanted to go. And the only thing I didn't like about my teardrop was how low it sat to the ground. And this is where the awesome people at New Camp came in. When I asked them if the axle that they put on their Outback tabs would fit on my tag, they thought about it and said, sure, why not? So they let me order the bigger axle and tires to have put on my tag. And so I had them send it to my friends over at Princess Craft in Austin, Texas, and within a day their awesome service techs had what I like to call Phoenix's new shoes put on. And the minute I walked in and saw Phoenix with her new shoes on, I knew she was perfect. However, one hilarious side effect that I did not anticipate is that when I got that new axle put on, the entire teardrop was 6 inches higher. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm kind of short. So back in October, I got to go to the New Camp factory, which I highly encourage you to do if you're in Ohio, because they can do all kinds of upgrades for you. One of the first things I asked them to do was give me a step because I am so darn short. One of the things that always bothered me is that the only outlet was at your feet. I know, first world problems, right? But when I told them at New Camp, they said, no problem. And I had them wire a new outlet right up to my head. And the last thing I asked New Camp to do is something that you may not realize unless you full-time in your teardrop. These mattresses, they're not exactly meant to live on full-time. So the FROLI system that they put in all of their truck campers, they threw in my teardrop, and it has made a world of difference. If you want any of these upgrades, all you have to do is call the service department at New Camp and they'll help you get it all sorted out. Here's to Princess Craft, New Camp, Marvin, and Austin. And of course, don't forget about aesthetics when you are making modifications. One of my really good artist friends painted a mural rendition of one of my favorite photographs I ever took of the Grand Tetons on the ceiling of my kitchen. Here's to you, Brian. But you know what? I did save the best for last. The last person who's really helped make this camper my home is a very special person. Me. The things I've done myself have been very simple, but meaningful to me. One really simple thing I did to make it feel like home was adding curtains and curtain rods. Now every national and state park I go to, I get a pin and I decorate the top of the curtains. Finally, we've reached my last and favorite modification. Anyone who's ever lived in Texas knows the value of an air conditioner, even when camping. Thankfully, the tag comes with an air conditioner. However, there's not exactly a place to hide it in here. But I happen to know there's this photographer who sells 12 by 18 inch metal prints of her beautiful landscape work. And if you order one of those prints and you glue magnets to the back of it, it makes the perfect cover for your air conditioner. Here's to you, Mandy Lee. As you're thinking of modifying your camper, I have 2 pieces of advice for you. First, don't be afraid. This is your home and your space, and this is yours to do what you want with. Don't be afraid to put holes in the wall or to look behind some boards or to unscrew a bolt here and there. You're not going to mess up anything you can't fix, probably, and you're probably going to build something that's uniquely you. And number 2, don't make it a chore. Make it an experience. Invite your friends or family or loved ones to help you and create a memory. Because as you live in this camper, that memory is going to last a lot longer than the physical being of the camper ever will. So here's to the creative side in all of us. Happy homemaking. Love and light.